Welcome back with another banger. It's the React Files. Hope you're having a good night. Let's get straight to it.
This girl has been talking to demons. Y'all, when I say this is wild, I am not exaggerating. It might be one of the craziest things I've seen. I had to think about it this year. But this demon told her that the world was going to end May 27th. Wait for it. 2025. This is crazy for so many reasons. We'll come right back to her. This was the forecast map of the United States made for the year 2025, with so much credence that so many billionaires started buying land around the new waterfront areas. No, really, they all did. But before that, we had Deagle or Dagle, which was basically an intelligence website where all different agencies would use their statistics and their projections for what they were going to do in the future. And even further, there's speculation that this site was actually created by our intelligence agency. But what it said, for those who don't know, it said that our population in the USA was going to go down 1/3. 100 million people just boom, gone. And don't even get me started on 2026. In a nutshell, 2026 is the date that fits all dates. It is 250 years or a season after 1776. And on the other timeline, it's the 7th millennia. Back to her, you can watch her video right there. She was talking to a demon named Seven by a Ouija board. I don't think she knows it's a demon though. And demons do lie.
So given the state of the world right now, I feel compelled to share with TikTok something I don't talk about very often, that because it makes me sound insane. And I don't know if it's real or not, or what it is. But basically, since 2013, me and my husband have essentially been talking to something on a Ouija board that goes by the name of Seven, who has been telling us that the world is going to end May 27th, 2025. And I have pages and pages and pages of our correspondence with this thing, like pages and pages and pages. And I have it here, raw, just what I've written down, and I have it on Google Docs. In Google Docs, it comes out to like 80 some pages. And I should preface this by saying, I'm a normal person. My husband's a normal person. We have jobs. We're not witches. We're not Satanists. We don't do stuff like this. We started this as for fun in 2013, July 2013. We had nothing else to do. We got on a Ouija board for fun, and it just kind of took off from there. And we have continued to talk to it. And I should also say we're not like super smart people, right? We're not like geniuses, but this thing kind of seems like it is. Let me show you. So it does stuff like speak in binary. By speak, I mean, it's giving us ones and zeros to write down on the Ouija board. I'm recording this. And in the moment, we have no idea what this means. We Googled it later. This is again, July 2013. And it turns out it's binary, but it's backwards binary. So in this way, it meant nothing. But when we reversed the numbers, it meant hello, because it does that a lot. It speaks backwards a lot. This is where it gets really crazy. So this was, I guess, the day before, because we got kind of addicted. So it speaks also in backwards languages that we don't speak. We don't speak it forwards. We don't speak it backwards. This is, I believe it was Latin. I believe it means salutations or something like that. I have all the details in my Google Doc. But this is kind of the way it speaks. It is coming, fire, yes, stop it. A lot of mysterious stuff, a lot of spooky, weird stuff. This is where it gets really weird. We've learned through all this communication that according to Seven, there are 5 groups. We are the third contact. Contact 1 failed 24,825 days ago. So from this date, we did the math, that comes out to August 6th, 1945. That is the date that the first atomic bomb was dropped. So my husband knows a lot about history. He doesn't know the exact date that the bomb was dropped. He certainly doesn't know he can't account for leap years. I mean, he's good at math, but he can't do math like that. It's perfect. Math is perfect. He can't do stuff like that. I can't do stuff like that. So the fact that it's a perfect more than once, I'll show you other examples here, is really scary. It's scary. It goes on to say contact 2 succeeded 18,534 days ago, which was August, I think that's 17th, 1962. I think that had something to do with JFK and the Bay of Pigs. I'd have to look at my doc, but historically, contact 3, that's us, fails 29,149 days after contact 1. 4,324 days in your future, which is May 27th, 2025, which it later says. And then, here's some like ancient Sumerian thrown in there just for fun. Again, had no idea what we were writing in the moment, but we later looked it up and kind of broke out the letters and realized we'd written down things like, referencing the mountain or mother goddess, reach the mountain in Sumerian. And again, we're not historians. We don't know anything about the ancient Sumerians. We, watched some Ancient Aliens and stuff like that, but I don't know what this is. I don't know what it wants. I don't know. And again, there are so many pages of this. And I'm happy to share them with whoever might be interested. I don't talk about this much with people. We have in the past, when we get a few drinks in us, and we're with people that we think we can trust and who won't think we're insane. We have shared this with people. They either kind of wave it off, they're like, oh, that's cool, or they say they're interested, but then they never really follow up and say, hey, I'd love to see those. Can you share me on those docs? So we just kind of assumed either it just kind of like freaks people out, or we just sound nuts, or it's really not that interesting. But so this has just kind of been a private little secret thing that we've had in our lives since 2013. And when we first had this conversation about the end of the world, 2025 felt like forever from then. It just felt like millions of years in the future, but now it's here and our world is crazy. And I don't know. I don't know what to do with this information. Anyway, does anyone out there want to know? Does anyone have any idea what this is and want to look at these documents and help me make sense of it and help me save 7? Why is his name 7? I don't know. I don't know what any of this is, but it felt like the right time to share this with people. TikTok felt like the right place for it. I don't know. Let me know. Help me save 7. Thanks for listening.
Yo, shout outs to Save 7. Very interesting. Journaling a conversation with a Ouija board back in 2013. Binary code to Sumerian text. Talking about first contact on peculiar dates in history. It's almost like this Ouija board was the first version of AI. Chat GPT type stuff. So we're talking 12 years ago. I'm absolutely interested to hear more about this.
Alright, you guys want to keep seeing what I find on Mexican TikTok? Then I will be happy to show you. I will just advise that this next video I'm about to play for you, a little bit of discretion can be advised because it's a little bit alarming. If you've ever read The Diary of Anne Frank, this may bring up a lot of similar actions that were taken to hide from a certain group of people who were hunting other people. So here it is. Now, I will say that nobody, including myself, knows the legal status of those people who were hiding. But regardless, they were working at a construction site and they were obviously building something, a house or a building, and they were raided. Obviously, they are targeting a specific type of person, and I don't really need to explain who that is. It's pretty obvious at this point. And yes, I have tried to find this video using my US account. I cannot find it. On my Mexican account, it came up on my For You page.
The moon was brought here 12,000 years ago. Our moon is in fact an artificial satellite. It is not a real planet. It can literally leave our orbit underneath its own power. According to the Andromedans, it was brought here from Ursa Minor, from a star system called Chauta that had 21 planets in it. It belonged to the 17th planet and it was one of 4 moons. Now, there are ruins all over it. The map is there. There are some pictures there. There's a lot more, which I don't have today. But it will be coming out. This is why the Apollo astronauts stopped going back. It's because there was somebody already there and they were told not to go back. This information is out there. Okay, our moon is 9.1 billion years old. 9.1 billion years old. It is in fact older than the Earth. Okay, it is many of the materials that have been found on the moon, minerals, don't exist on our planet. The moon did not belong to part of the Earth. It was brought here, literally. Our solar system has 8 artificial moons in it that were brought here. That can literally, underneath their own power, leave our solar system. And there are beings living on it. Now, the upper echelon, the world government, know this. They've known it for a very long time. But they didn't want us to know because of the element of power. And we'll discuss that. Now, Earth has been colonized off and on for many hundreds of millions of years. The first race to actually chart our planet was a group from Alpha Draconis. They are reptilian beings. They're anywhere from 7 feet to 22 feet tall. It can weigh up to 1,800 pounds. And they don't like human beings. Not here, not anywhere. They were the very first to chart it. They were also the very first to actually have a small colony here 809 million years ago. Now, one of the very first colonies or places that was colonized on the planet is North America, what we now call the United States. There are approximately, today, 1,833 of these reptilians still existing inside the planet. They have lived here for thousands of years. They live thousands of years. Their bodies are not like ours. They live anywhere from 100 to 200 miles beneath the surface. This is where they are. And it's all over. The planet is honeycombed with tunnels and caverns. There are approximately 18,000 what we know as grays between here and our moon, from underneath the surface of the planet and the moon. Now, the grays. The grays originally came from Zeta Reticuli 2. I'm giving you the Andromedan perspective. I'm not here to challenge anybody else's information. I'm here to tell you their perspective. The grays came from Zeta Reticuli 2. They left there 892,000 years ago. They got trapped in a war called the Orion War, which lasted 600,000 years. It was a galactic war between reptilian forces and human beings. What happened was they were captured by a group in Orion, the constellation of Orion, which is Rigel, Beltrax, Ursa Major, Ursa Minor. They were genetically altered there. Many of the females of their species were killed, so they could not reproduce, so they could control the race. They also genetically altered them so that their sexual organs would become atrophied, and eventually they just wouldn't be there because they weren't being used. Now, the Greys, at the same time this was going on, decided that the emotional part of themselves, of their personality, was their weakest link. So they literally bred or thought out the emotional part of their bodies, of their character. Which is why they have no emotion. They're robots. Today, there are approximately 2,100 actual grays, actual physical grays, that have a soul, that are part of the original race, the lineage of the original race, in our solar system. All the rest, virtually every single one that are doing the abductions on people, are clones. They're robots. They don't have an essence, they don't have a soul in them. They're robots. Does everybody follow me so far? Okay. The Greys have a problem. They're dying. This is why they basically are here. Now we, as a planetary race, offer them a great opportunity to possibly save their race. But it isn't working. And I'll explain why that is.
Shout outs to Alice Collier. How the moon is a satellite. Some real Transformer stuff right here. Wondering how he got the information. So supposedly the ones doing the abductions are just robots, soulless entities. I wonder if SpaceX is privy to this information.
Elon Musk has been removed from the White House and no longer has direct access to Donald Trump, and instead must report to Donald Trump's chief of staff, Susie Wiles. Now, this is according to multiple reports, and that came directly from Susie Wiles. She told Elon Musk that he will be working across the street from the White House in the Eisenhower building, and that he must report to her and not to Donald Trump. Now, understand this. This only comes directly from Donald Trump. This is not a decision that Susie Wiles would make on her own, which means the partnership between Donald Trump and Elon Musk has taken a downward turn. Now, I suspect that if this report is true, this is because Elon Musk mocked Donald Trump's announcement of that $500 billion investment, suggesting that Stargate didn't have the money. Donald Trump didn't dare say anything directly to Elon Musk, but this makes sense that this would be his retribution. Now, these two are definitely headed to a falling out that is going to be spectacular. But right now, Elon Musk has been demoted a peg.
Things are about to get really interesting. Since Donald Trump signed the executive order demanding that the federal government release the JFK, RFK, and MLK assassination files, now you have senators and congressmen and women urging Donald Trump to release the Jeffrey Epstein files. Senator Marsha Blackburn and Representative Tim Burchett are demanding the release of Epstein's flight log, Ghislaine's famous Little Black Book, and the prison footage of Epstein's unaliving. Blackburn said Americans deserve to know exactly who was affiliated with Epstein's network. Trump, who has previously suggested he is opening to re-examining the Epstein case. And also now you have Kash Patel, who Trump appointed as the FBI director, which is currently pending Senate approval, publicly and openly saying he wants to release the Epstein files. I agree, release the list. I especially want to see the names that have been redacted when the other pages of the files have been released. Who do you think is on the list? And do you think in the next couple of weeks or months, we will have that list released? As always, I want to hear what you think about all of this down below.
Conspiracy theorist people knew this the whole time, that our government has been the biggest propagandist towards the American people. Hate me or love me, but I'm about to expose the entire thing. And this is why they did not want President Trump in the office, because the house of cards is about to crumble. And I tell you, these unclassified documents are freaking insane. I'm about to break them all down for you. I'm going to be recording a series of videos on my channel, breaking it down as I get through it. If you are someone that does not want to read the hundreds and hundreds of pages, stay close because I am going to document them.
I ain't trying to read all them pages, but I definitely want to know what's up. Shout out to Iron Vaunt and Win. I'm excited to see what she finds out.
Okay, y'all, so I don't know if y'all know this already, but I learned this about a couple years ago. Y'all know that King actually survived the assassination attempt that day, and that he actually didn't pass away from the gunshot wound. James Earl Ray is not the reason that King passed away. He definitely played a part, and it was actually multiple individuals. But apparently on the day that King was pew-pewed, he was actually able to make it to the hospital where they performed a full surgery to where he was on pace to make a full recovery. But the people that was with James Earl Ray were actually the reason that caused King's demise. Meaning it was 2 or 3 certain individuals that went inside his hospital room and actually suffocated him to death. And actually that's the real reason why King is not here today. As crazy as that sounds, but it's actually true. And as for the people that actually suffocated him, don't nobody really know. Because they claimed that James Earl Ray was the only individual, but it was actually multiple individuals. That's why they stuck with the narrative that King was wounded and he passed on. Yeah, but shit crazy, man. You never know.
I agree. This is crazy. You never know. Shout out to T Money Slugs 229.
Martin Luther King Jr. was a completely made-up character created by the FBI. And I know I'm going to get so much hate for this, but you cannot deny this is not the truth because this is coming directly from the unclassified files that President Trump released. This is directly from the FBI website that is vault.fbi.gov. This is where the unclassified document on Martin Luther King Jr., his image, and his assassination is uploaded. Just in the first 5 pages, it completely reveals how Martin Luther King Jr. was selected to be the activist leader and how they pushed it through mainstream media news to create their narrative. It states right there in the middle, I know it's kind of hard to read because the files are old. It says Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was the target of an intensive campaign by the FBI to neutralize him as an effective civil rights leader. And it also says this and other testimony describing this FBI counterintelligence campaign against King reached the public through the news media. Hold on. So create a narrative, hire an actor, and then use mainstream media to program it to become the truth. This is just more confirmation that this has been their playbook the entire time. If you're not following me, I encourage you to follow me because I am going to continue to record short series to break it all down for you guys.
These documents are real. It's gonna shake up a lot of people. Shout outs to Martin Luther King as far as what he represented. This is true, it's earth rattling. I ain't even gonna lie. If it's true.
So who was Alice Bailey and what was her prophecy for 2025? Listen up because things aren't what you think. This woman right here died in 1949 and was an author of Theosophy and among the first writers to use the term New Age. She described most of her work as having been telepathically dictated to her by a master of wisdom, and her writings bore similarity to those of Madame Blavatsky. She had a vision of a unified society, included a global spirit of religion, different from traditional religious forms, and it included the concept of the Age of Aquarius. Age of Aquarius, huh? I've already showed y'all this video, but let's watch it again. And anybody in the occult knows that the Age of Aquarius is the dawning of a new age, the Golden Age. Now let's talk about Alice Bailey's prophecy. And just in case you don't know, the New Age movement was created by the occult, aka Satan. It states the year 2025 signifies a watershed moment in our collective experience for the Yuga cycle framework based on the Saptarshi calendar. Indicates that on the 21st of March of 2025, the Kali Yuga will end and will be followed by a long transitional period of 1200 years. Now listen to this. It says, when the decadent structures, philosophies, and ideologies of the Kali Yuga will be entirely obliterated and a nascent civilization based on elevated spiritual principles shall take root, which will eventually grow into the enlightened civilizations of the ascending Yuga cycle, culminating in the next golden age. Now listen to this. It says, these are the end times that the ancient prophecies warned us of, when the apocalyptic events described in the Eschatological texts will be fulfilled and our reality will be drastically altered. The year 2025 had been specifically mentioned by Alice Bailey in some of her writings nearly a century ago. She had a book called The Coming Avatar, which presented a picture of an avatar who was expected to arrive at the close of this yuga in 2025. Her book, A Treatise on Cosmic Fire, stated this: "From the gates of gold down to the pit of earth, out from the flaming fire down to the circle of gloom rideth the secret avatar, bearing the sword that pierceth. Naught can arrest his approach, and none may say nay. To the darkness of our sphere he rideth alone, and on his approach is seen the uttermost disaster." What does that sound like? The rider on the white horse when the seals are broken. It says, "The Savior arise from the heavens, wielding a sword at a time when our planet is plagued by wars and disasters." And she stated this avatar will manifest himself in 2025. She stated in her book, The Externalization of the Hierarchy, in 2025, the date in all probability will be set for the first stage of the externalization of the hierarchy. The present cycle from now until that date is called technically the stage of the forerunner. They have been preparing and testing the methods to see if this avatar could come at this time. A lot of New Age teachings believe in a golden age or the light age. It is the light age because they are bringing darkness to light. And that is why you see Trump bringing out this truth, because he's supposed to. He's their light bearer. He has to bring out the darkness and expose everything and bring it all to light. That's what the occult do. Duality, light versus dark, white versus black. That's why you see the white and black checkerboard in the Freemasons lodges. And that is why Biden was so horrible in the 4 years he was in office. He was the darkness, and now they're bringing in the light. The day before Biden left office, he became a master mason. You know why? Because he finished what he was supposed to do. So he got his reward. Trump is a mason. He does their hand signs. It's super obvious for anybody who has eyes to see. There's a reason why you see Trump in a purple tie now. It's because now the two sides, blue and red, that are affiliated with Freemasons have now merged because of the Golden Age or the Age of Aquarius. Purple is the color of a master mason. He is showing everyone in the club what he is. The color purple is indicative of a place of honor for those who have provided sustained and exemplary service to the craft. The combination of red and blue into purple or violet is the color of the York Rite Mark passed in most excellent master degrees.
Being in a solitude for a long time, and they will go and dream the dreams, and the dream have to be quality same dream. So coming out of this dream, this once of the shaman told me that actually the best thing happened in this planet right now is the Trump to be the president. I said, how is this possible? It's the best thing to happen. He said, yes, because he's so irrational, he's so crazy. That's actually create that awakening that we finally wake up. Because before it will be another guy and everything was similar. But he's so different than anything else. So he's the magician who waking us up. What do you think about that?
He's the magician because MAGA equals sorcery. It's the awakening. This is the golden age. It is time to wake up. Everything that has been happening has been on purpose. Order out of chaos, y'all. They had to have the chaos to come with the order. He's bringing the order. It's so obvious. And now he's building the actual beast system. And that has been planned for a while too. Just listen.
Painless vaccine for a disease which afflicts millions of people. Cancer.
What is he talking about creating now? The occult have to show light in the darkness. and is interpreted as a metaphorical statement suggesting that practitioners of the occult, often associated with mysterious or hidden knowledge, have a responsibility to bring clarity, understanding, or positive change to situations that seem shrouded in negativity or confusion. Essentially, they have to be the beacon of insight in difficult times. The light represents knowledge, truth, and positive energy, which is what he's doing right now. He's also going to bring a false peace, which he's working on right now. He's talking about extending the Abraham Accords. Y'all remember when Hillary Clinton's emails were exposed? This was in one of the emails. To make whomever the Republicans nominate unpalatable to a majority of the electorate. Y'all remember me talking about the Pied Piper? Look, Pied Piper candidates. Ted Cruz, Donald Trump, Ben Carson. Then it goes on to say we need to be elevating the Pied Piper candidates so that they are leaders of the pack and tell the press to them seriously. This was in 2015. And here's the email that it came off of, if you want to go look it up. Everyone needs to get out this mentality that this man is going to save everything. He is doing good stuff right now because that is his job. He was put in his position to be the light. Y'all have got to wake up. We are close to going into tribulation. And for the ones worshiping this man, you need to stop and turn back to Christ. And for the ones who do not know Jesus, you need to start a relationship now. Because it's only a matter of time before the church gets raptured. And you do not want to be here for the worst period of mankind. If you think what has happened recently with the weather was bad, just wait until God's wrath hits this earth. Repent of your sins, confess that Jesus is your Lord, and believe that he died on the cross for you and me, for the forgiveness of our sins. He was buried and rose again. And if you believe in him, you will be saved and have everlasting life. Don't wait until it's too late.
What about the footage in that one? Dang, they all in the club, ain't they? Shout outs to Itty Bitty Tara. Yo, she broke that down. She did her thing. First time seeing her. But man, it's the Truman Show for real.
This was a wild weekend on Mexican TikTok because somehow I ended up on Germany TikTok. Now this is something that a lot of people do not know, but the world is watching what is happening in the United States right now with everything, and they are protesting for us. Now this came up on my For You page on my Mexican TikTok account. It is 100,000 people protesting fascism in Berlin at the Brandenburger Tor. Check it out.
Jetzt werden wir wieder ganz leise.
To all of my friends out in Germany, I have not practiced German in a long time, so I'm going to try my best here. But I wanted to tell you, danke für diesen Protest. Ich weiß, dass du auch gegen die AfD kämpfst. If you look on that video, there was no disclaimer at the bottom for anything. Now I get back onto my US TikTok account, which is this one that you're watching right now. Now I was served this video that I took a screenshot of, and look at the disclaimer on the bottom. 100,000 people in Berlin, totally fine. Maybe 1,000 people in Manhattan is a dangerous activity. What I want to know is what makes it dangerous. But yeah, the world is watching, everyone, and they're concerned. Don't stay silent, please. And I will keep sharing what I find on Mexican TikTok with the world. Dankeschön.
I'm getting a lot of heat for a statement that I made that I believe the FBI manufactured Martin Luther King Jr. And people in the comment section are calling me out, claiming that I am spreading false information and that I don't know how to read or comprehend what I just read, and even going as far as calling me effing stupid. But I wanted to give you my breakdown as to why I came to that conclusion. And if this is your first time seeing me, I will be creating a series of videos going through the unclassified documents for anybody that doesn't want to go through the hundreds and hundreds of pages. So let me just read the statement that I read that people are calling me stupid for. It says in there that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was the target of an intensive campaign by the FBI to neutralize him as an effective civil rights leader. Now I understand what neutralize means. And people were calling me out stating that neutralize means they were trying to stop him. The people that are making this statement, I thought you guys were supposed to be awake. Because we all know that the government, we're all just pawns in their chess game. And what that means is Just because one portion of the FBI is aware of what's going on, that doesn't mean other higher ranking officers are not strategically planning something else that people are not aware of. Because we see that happen all the time in the government. So let me show you why I came to that conclusion. And you'll come to realize the complexity of our society is we all live in the Truman Show. And even though we may believe that we're fully awake, there's still more complexity that we are unfolding. So in the document that I showed, in the 113 pages, you're going to find things like this, where it states multiple times that there's discrepancy between the interview, FBI agent, and witnesses. So in this 113 page document, you're going to find disclaimers like this multiple times throughout the report. This one specifically states that they can't pinpoint the exact time that Dr. King went back to his room, because according to Ms. Davis, he was back in his room by 5:45. However, the Reverend said in the FBI report that Dr. King did not leave the motel and spent most of the day in room 306. Anyways, throughout the entire report, if you sit down and actually read it, they're mentioning that there are discrepancies between stories. They said in the report that there was 2 black firefighters that were removed from their station and moved to other stations. They couldn't identify who called them and what was the exact reason why they were being moved. But long story short, the other fire stations didn't need the extra hand. So there wasn't real clarity as to why those guys needed to be moved from the fire station that they had FBI agents planned at to watch Dr. King. Another discrepancy that you'll find in the report is the FBI agents can't even figure out who they picked up, when they picked someone up, and who was exactly in each car. And the last thing that I have to mention is the killer says that there was a guy with him. His name is Raul. And yet, till this day, no one knows who that mysterious person is. The reason why they were trying to identify who this guy was is because they also were trying to investigate how did James Earl Ray fund all the things he did leading up to the assassination. Because he escaped from prison, and the only known occupation he did was he worked as a dishwasher for 6 weeks. And he made $600. But yet in the year leading up to him escaping and assassinating Martin Luther King Jr., he bought 2 cars, he traveled, went to Mexico multiple times, hung out in bars, stayed in hotel rooms, traveled across the country multiple times, and yet they still couldn't figure out where did he get the money. Now that you're aware of that report, so that creates a suspicion that the things that are being reported by this specific group of people in the FBI, clearly they can't get their story straight. Red flag number 1. Red flag number 2, it states right here in the secret documents that were released stating that King is a wholehearted Marxist who has studied it, believes in it, and agrees with it. But because he's being a minister of religion, he does not want it to be publicly known. And then it goes on to state that in addition, King has been described within the CPUSA, don't forget that, as a true, genuine Marxist-Leninist from the top of his head to the tip of his toes. So now let's talk about the full circle that ties it all back to why I believe that if you guys watch the Candace Owens special that she did on Kamala Harris, how she unveiled her bloodline to reveal that Kamala Harris is truly not black. And in that series, we all know that Kamala Harris's dad was tied back to Marxism. She alleges that possibly the ties of Kamala Harris also to the government with MLK Ultra. So why do I believe Martin Luther King Jr. is a manufactured character by our dark government? Because in this article, it states that one of the top advisors to King was Stanley Levinson. Acknowledges in this article that Levinson has spent the major part of his life advancing communist interests. Stated that in 1956, he gravitated towards Martin Luther King Jr. He has been dedicated in the support of King as he has been in advancing communist goals. It says right there that Levinson also informed Jones that King is such a slow thinker, he is usually not prepared to make statements without the help from someone. Levinson is actively participating in the planning for King's Washington Spring project. Remember when I told you guys, remember CPUSA? Well, guess who was the financial angel of CPUSA? Stanley Levinson. And you saw that they acknowledged that Levinson was pretty much the person behind Martin Luther King because Martin Luther King Jr. was not that smart. He played a key role in pretty much curating and creating the entire image of Martin Luther King Jr. So the Democratic Party likes to claim that the Republicans are the communist dictator. Well, this website, which is the Communist Party USA, stated back in 2016, acknowledging that Trump's agenda is threatening to working and poor people in our entire planet because it is based on hatred, racism, bigotry, and looking out for only the 1%. It states in this article that even though they do not endorse specific president candidates, it does say, why does the CPUSA support the Democratic candidates? Guess who CPUSA is allied with? That's right, China. In 2021, this article was published saying international solidarity with the theme of the meeting of Chinese and US Communist Party leaders held on March 10th. You want to guess who funnels billions of dollars to the CCP? That's right, BlackRock. The same BlackRock that has close relationship with the US government. The same BlackRock that is also heavily invested in Hollywood. BlackRock pretty much has their hands in almost everything of this world because of, as of October of last year, $11.5 trillion in asset under management is with BlackRock. The same BlackRock that was donating to Kamala Harris's campaign, and one of their financial advisors is an executive from BlackRock. I'm going to do another video of who Martin Luther King Jr. was, and he's not the person that they're telling us in the history book. He is not the integral guy that we were taught to believe he is. But here's what I'm going to say to the people that are calling me stupid. I believe that FBI, not all agents are informed of the final agenda. And from there, the CIA has a bigger plan that even FBI agents are aware of. In those reports, it clearly shows that even officers within the FBI all don't seem to have the same story. We all know that inner circles exist. So within the FBI, there's inner circles that agents are not involved in. And from the FBI, there's CIA. There's so many other organizations above us that all carry their own agenda. And then above their heads, they have their own agenda. Ultimately lead back to the people in power, which is supposedly our president. But who controls our president? Who knows if it's BlackRock or whatever it is? When we talk about the shadow government, those are the people that actually run the country, not our president. He's simply just a puppet. Even all these organizations within government are all just puppets. We are merely just pawns in a bigger game that we will not know until all of this gets unveiled. So whether Martin Luther King Jr. knew it, he just wasn't aware because Levinson claims that he's a slow thinker. Yes, your statement is kind of true that he was targeted. However, I still stand behind my statement that he was manufactured, and when they said it was trying to neutralize him, that's what the reporting officers thought it was. Because you have to keep up a facade in order for it to be believable so that they don't discover the corruption behind the scenes. So we'll see, even with these unclassified documents being released, will it actually really unveil the entire truth? Because just accept the truth for what it is. We live in a simulated world and we'll never be able to escape it. And the last real question that I have is, how far back do these government plans go in Martin Luther King's life? Because we've seen how far the government will go to keep people out so that their agenda is not revealed. So I will stand behind my statement. You can call me stupid all you want, but I still believe that Martin Luther King Jr. was a manufactured leader. This is why our government celebrates him. I know he did the civil rights movement, and I'm not going to take that away from him. But to the people that are awake, we do know that the government creates chaos because they stir up everyone's emotion, because when you're emotional, they can control you better. And we see the sacrifices they're willing to do to push forward an agenda. And the American people and anybody that gets in their way, they have zero problems with getting them out of the way. This is why I do stand behind President Trump, because he's here to unveil all of the corruption. Believe me or not, doesn't matter. Time will just reveal itself.
Wow, these are some shocking claims right here. Shout out to I am Vant Win. I'm not gonna call her stupid. I think the question is, are these docs official? Are these the documents that Trump just declassified? Or are they in existence already? I do agree. Life is like the Truman Show for real.
Hey friends, this is crazy. I was not expecting the video to blow up. I was not expecting so many of you to be so interested in this crazy thing called Seven. I'm glad that you are. I'm even more so glad that there are so many people who don't believe me, who think that I'm making this up, that this is a PR stunt. I think that's great. I think it's really important to be skeptical, to be dubious, to critically think about everything you're seeing and hearing and reading, because we are fed a whole bunch of lies and garbage. It's really sad, but that's the truth. In my case, I am unfortunately not making this up. This is not a PR stunt. It would be a great idea for a movie. If we had been intelligent, we would have somehow turned this into a script, but here we are. No, I just feel compelled to share this with you guys now because I haven't. I feel like it's my duty. I'm also seeing a whole lot of people saying we're being stupid, that this is a demon, that we need to stop, that we're messing with stuff we don't understand. Maybe that is true. I don't know. I have no idea. All I know is what it has told us. And from the beginning, very consistently, it is presenting itself as a power of good, as a positive thing, which, you know, a demon would, right? A demon would do that. They would try to convince you that it was good, and it's not. I just choose not to believe that. I'm very open-minded. You know, I believe in God, and that's pretty much it. Everything else is a mystery. So I'm just along for the ride. So let me show you a little bit about what it has presented itself as. So this is one of our earliest conversations with Seven, and pretty much from the beginning, it referred to the planets, and it told us the Earths are alive, and that there is a power more than God, but God is good. So it's always been consistently pro-God. It also has referred to an experiment of some kind. The experiment must not fail. Many fail. Please do not fail me. Sad Seven, save us. Thank you. And then farewell backwards. So it has always been begging us for help in saving it. That's been very clear from the beginning. And again, these are not our questions. These are just the answers that we have received. That's a funny story. Don't be scared by that word. That's a funny story. I can tell that one day. It's about Cleopatra. Anyway, this is what we know. Let me continue. This conversation came after the one I just showed you. It began with the word awaken backwards. Again, we don't know what we're writing in the moment. We are just kind of blindly getting letters, writing down letters, and it's not until later that we're kind of analyzing. So I'm taking this down, and when it reaches this A, our alarm clock goes off, which, you know, maybe it was some kind of power surge. I don't know, but it's very odd. And it was then that I looked, read it backwards, realized it said awaken with an alarm clock. So it has a sense of humor. It also started referring to different numbers, again, making it sound like planets. So 741 was killed by 741's star. I am 7. 741 was 741. 741's star killed it. Yes, it was an accident, apparently. 8 remain. So here we start getting into nuclear power. We're asking questions about the end of the world, you know, and nuclear war. At this point, we have not gotten the dates that I shared in my last video. So we're kind of just flying blind here. At the bottom, he writes, that power took... He had to kind of restart because we were recording it wrong. That power took 947,632 to the stars. 947,342 died by such a power. 947,632 flied to God. So it often speaks in what we would consider, you know, grammatically incorrect ways. We don't know why. Here it started saying, I think we started asking why haven't we already blown ourselves up? Something like that. He said, you are late, just on track. We asked why? Why are we late? Plague, slowed, just on track again. So obviously, when COVID hit in 2020, we thought, oh, maybe this is another plague that is kind of slowing us down, slowing humanity down, and keeping us from blowing ourselves up. I don't know. So here again, it starts talking about that same planet, 947,632, happy, success. 947,632, had the people actually listen, success. One has not failed. Success, if you should be so picky, we think. Again, it's a lot of riddles. Here it kind of starts speaking more fluidly and we get bigger chunks. I think we took a break. Hello. The next tiny step of many. Needn't fear, for you are not destined for a huge step. So we were asking, we're so small, how can we stop nuclear war? You know, we're just 2 people. The start is small, but just as needed. A path to the stars. Because I asked, not destined to stop it, but to start the start. 947,632. Like 947,632 does. Instead of unsheathing the sword, they wrote it. So nuclear power, nuclear energy, I don't know. So here he kind of starts talking about other entities that we spoke with. Again, another story. And he kind of explained that ghosts were parts springing from the whole. He'd mentioned this whole, I guess, that we're a part of. He references this again later. If Earth dies, so does Seven. He also kind of speaks then in some poetry, which we get a lot of. And there's kind of just kernels in this poetry. But fear not, I am not a harbinger of death, but must listen to all around you. And then it kind of gets into the poetry. So with all that information that we were getting, we started getting kind of bummed out and wondering questions that I've seen others wonder in the comments, oh, should I just give up? Should I eat cheesecake? I've been on a diet. Should I not save money? Should I not pay my bills? What do we do? How do we have fun? How do we live our lives? And Seven has been very clear. We have to. That's part of it. You have to know all this and keep living and keep enjoying yourself. So let me show you. So we asked, how do we have fun and enjoy our lives with this information? You must. We also asked more about the contact. So at this point, we did know about the dates. If we succeed, it goes to contact 4. If they succeed, it goes to contact 5. And then there's something called the God step, which I can get into later. But if we fail, if contact 3 fails, it shall be done. So again, it brings up the accident of that sun exploding. It is my experiment. You are aware of your mortality, so why continue living? That was a question we kind of asked. We then asked about its mortality. I am 7. Should I not wish to? Humans all arise. A needed evil, the God step, contact 5. A path made crumbles by your hand. It is the duty of us all, the promised land. The countdown is not evil, but be aware of it in order for your armor, spelled with a U, to be pure. Then some more silly riddles. Historical future. Apathy grows with no limitations, for your armor must be battle tested. To struggle is to grow is to learn is to find victory. So there's a lot in there that I kind of skimmed over. There's so much more to the story, but that's just to kind of give you a glimpse of who Seven is as a person. It has a sense of humor a lot of times. It is very smart, and it has never asked us to do anything crazy. It's never asked us to I saw someone say, put up an altar, have a space for it. It's never asked us for anything like that, or blood, or nothing crazy. It has simply asked us to learn everything we can, to lead through love, and to share this with the world in some form. So that's what I'm trying to do. And I do want to share the doc. I think I want to set it up a little bit more, because if I just put it out there in the world, it's not going to make much sense. And I think it needs some further explanation. So if you guys want to hear more, let me know. Thank you. Thanks for joining me on this crazy ride. Save 7.
What a ride she's been on. Shout out to Save 7. Very interesting. They say don't use Ouija boards because of demons and stuff like that. But it sounds like she might be tapping into an alien consciousness.
Because they fly around in these really awesome spaceships doesn't mean they come from an unconditional love space. We will all be awed by the technology. Do not be awed by the beings that are flying it. Do not. They are absolutely no better than you. They're just not. Because as souls, we're all created at the same time. We're just on different levels on an evolutionary scale in the physical. But on a soul level, we're all the same. Okay, that's important, please, because in the next 5 years, you're going to have absolute proof. Any questions so far?
How does our government line up with each one of these groups?
Excellent question. Okay. Our government, Well, let me start with World War II. Actually, we'll start in the 1930s.
World War II.
Okay, the world government. Okay, there is a world government. It controls all of our lives through the media, militarily, and of course, the big thing, money. Because they've got us all believing we have to have money to survive. Okay? And that's a belief system. You gotta have money to survive. It's a belief system, but we're all there. We're all in it. We're all participating in that belief system. Okay, you've got essentially the Draconians, I'll just put Drax for short, believe that this planet and this solar system belongs to them because they were the first to chart it. They also believe that because they were the first to chart our planet, that they own the planet and everything else on it, which right now is us. Underneath them is the Orions. They do the dirty work for the Drax. There is a hierarchy. Just like in any government, there's a hierarchy. Even the dark forces are organized in a hierarchy, in a hierarchical government. Underneath them are many different groups, but we'll deal specifically with the Greys because that's what we're dealing with. The Greys were the first to make contact with our government. Our government. However, the Greys in 1931 also made contact, before they made contact with our government, with the Germans, with the Nazis. But the Germans told them, go away. We're already in contact with extraterrestrials. And those extraterrestrials were the Gizan intelligence. Does everybody know who they are? They were a renegade group of Pleiadians who believed in the Aryan philosophy, of which that's most of our lineages, the white race, being superior to all the others. Okay, that's where that was born out of. Okay, extraterrestrial. That's where it came from. Everything we virtually know about ourselves, we've been taught. We copied the gods. The mythological gods, the gods of Egypt, the gods of Sumeria, the gods of Babylon, the gods of Atlantis. We just emulated them. We're great copiers. And we saw how they treated each other and how they treated us. And we've just emulated it and passed it on, legacy after legacy. So we just continue to pass it on. And now we're at a point where we're either going to destroy ourselves or we're going to evolve. We've literally put ourselves right here in the corner. Literally, as a planetary race. Okay, now, the Pleiadians, to their credit, got rid of Giza intelligence. But they were not in a position to get rid of the Greys. And the reason they were not in a position to get rid of the Greys is because a group within our government signed the treaty. So the researchers who did this, who have come up with this information, are to be congratulated for the research that they've done. Okay? Much of this information I've been able to collaborate and say, yes, they say, yes, it's true, or no, it's not, it's this information. Okay? And I help to fill in the gaps, but I don't have all the answers either. Now, everybody follow me to this point. Okay. The Roswell crash did in fact occur. Wasn't the only one. There have been many all over North America and Canada. A lot of them you haven't heard anything about.
Man, every time what he's saying gets good, it's the end of the clip. The Greys. Roswell was real. It's some real fascinating stuff. We heard all these terms before from the Greys and the Pleiadians, the Anunnaki, the Draconians. I am not gonna lie, I ain't learned about any of this until TikTok.
Y'all remember the missing kids on the milk cartons, accompanied by the got milk commercials? Why is there milk on their mouth? A bunch of kids on the milk? Why is there milk on our mouth? Missing children on the milk? Even the silk milk on the mouth. More missing children. And these guys are absolutely covered You guessed it, in milk. These were also children on a milk carton. $94,000. Reward. More children, you guessed it, on a milk carton. I didn't know Shaq was such an avid milk lover. Is that his mom right there? By the company you keep. It's crazy how Oreo got pulled into this, by the way. By the company that you keep. It's just really weird how all these celebrities have milk on their mouth. Really weird. Body by milk? Wasn't she just caught up in a whole bunch of drama? The milk being symbolized in their hair. That's a good one. We could do this for hours. By the way, screenshot these coordinates, but ask no questions.
That's a wrap. Hope you enjoyed tonight's rabbit hole. If you enjoyed that video, check out this one right here. Thanks again. Till next time.